my name is Summer. Welcome to my channel. Today we'll be going over 8 common standing poses that you'll see in many yoga classes. So grab some props, grab some water, a towel, grab your mat, and see you in a few. Now stand at the top of your mat, feet together, hands by your sides, Tadasana. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, reach for the ground, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, kick your feet back into plank and lower down for Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, arch your back, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or upward facing dog. Exhale, lift your hips up to the sky to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take some deep cleansing breaths here. And with an exhale, walk your feet back to your hands. And then inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward for Uttanasana. And with an exhale, ground your feet, raise your arms to the sky for Tadasana. Inhale, raise your arms over your head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, upward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths right here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. On your next exhale, I want you to walk your feet up to your hands, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, ground your feet, raise your arms to the sky. Come up to stand, bring your hands to heart center, Tadasana. All right, one more time. From Tadasana, raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands, step back for Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Remember to breathe. This is a breathing practice. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and with your next exhale, bring your feet up to your hands for Adho Uttanasana. And exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Ground your feet to the mat. Inhale as you rise up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center, Tadasana. Now for Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, sit back in an imaginary chair for utkatasana. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward for uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, kick your feet back for Chaturanga Dandasana or plank pose. Inhale, upward facing dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, lifting those hips up to the sky for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, bring your right foot between your hands, and you're going to raise your arms to the sky. You're going to bend that right knee into Virabhadrasana One or Warrior One. Square up those hips. And exhale down to Chaturanga Dandasana, planting those hands to the ground. Inhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your left foot between your hands. Raise your arms to the sky, bend that left knee into Virabhadrasana One, Warrior One. You're going to try to square up those hips a little bit. Make sure that right foot is in a 45-degree angle. Exhale, windmill those hands down. Plant your hands to the ground. Chaturanga Dandasana, low plank. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a mini break here. Do some deep cleansing breaths. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now, bring your feet up to your hands, halfway up. Exhale, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, bring your hands up to the sky. Sit back in an imaginary chair, utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Stand up tall like a mountain in Tadasana. Inhale, raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, sit back in your imaginary chair, utkatasana. Inhale, and with an exhale, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, or upward facing dog. Exhale, bring your hips to the sky, Adho Mukha Svanasana. With an inhale, bring your right foot between your hands. Bend that knee, raise your arms to the sky. Square your hips, Virabhadrasana One, Warrior One. Exhale, windmill your hands down. Plant your hands to the ground. Kick your legs back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. With an inhale, bring your left foot between your hands. Bend that left knee. Raise your arms to the sky. Virabhadrasana One, Warrior One. Make sure that right foot's at a 45-degree angle and you're keeping your hips square to the front of the mat. Exhale, windmill your hands down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Remember, as you go through these, take your time, listen to your body, and breathe. This is a breathing practice. So inhale, exhale, and let it all go. Inhale, and with your next exhale, walk your feet to your hands, halfway up. Exhale, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, bring your hands up to stand, and exhale, utkatasana. Sit back in the imaginary chair. We won't keep you here very long. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Tadasana. So the first pose we're going to break down is Tadasana. I'll repeat that. Tadasana, also known as Samasthiti. So Tadasana is a basic standing pose. It's a foundational pose where we start and where we return to throughout the practice. You notice while we were doing the Surya Namaskar A and B, we kept coming back to Tadasana. So Tadasana is fundamental, we gotta learn it. Now, it looks like a simple pose. You just stand tall as a majestic mountain. But in reality, there's a lot going on. You're just not standing there. There's so many different areas of the body that must be engaged while keeping other parts soft. Samasthiti, which is the word for Tarasana as it's known in the ashtanga practice, it means equal standing pose. So that means is that you're trying to evenly distribute the weight across the feet. So if you try to picture that going on, it really is not as easy as it looks. So let's give it a try. Stand with your feet parallel to each other, just a few inches apart. Lift your toes in the balls of your feet, then bring them back gently to the mat. So you're kind of just gripping the mat right there. Then gently move from side to side. You're going to be swaying just a little bit. And front to back. You're just trying to distribute the weight until you find an even distribution across your feet. Here you're going to draw up energy from the earth through your feet and through your legs, lifting up those kneecaps and bringing your chest up. Roll your shoulders back. You're going to be opening those clavicles. And here you're going to draw your shoulder blades down. You're going to relax your arms. Your palms can face in or forward. And you're going to have your chin parallel to the mat. And you're going to soften your throat. Soften your eyes and breathe. Don't lock your knees out. And keep your core active. Like I was saying, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Try to see how you feel now compared to how you normally stand. There's a lot of engagement, but you gotta be mindful of keeping some of those areas soft. Tadasana feels different now that you know a little bit more of what's involved. So don't let it fool you. It's a very active pose. Now, if you're standing here with your feet just a few inches apart and it's aggravating your lower back, or you just don't feel stable, feel free to widen your stance a little bit just to give you that stability or to lessen the pain in your lower back. We're not here to cause more pain. We're here, listen to your body and help it progress, but without causing further distress. Like I said before, also pause wherever you need to, practice, and then come back and follow along with the rest of the video. The next pose we're covering is Utkasasana. You say that? I have to say that again. Utkatasana. And everyone knows it as chair pose. Some people know it as lightning bolt pose. But in reality, the literal translation is fierce pose. So if you ever done it before, you have an idea what this feels like. It's very fierce. It's a very powerful pose. So it takes a lot of strength to do this pose. It's a great strength building pose for both the mind and your body, because it requires your whole body to be engaged while you do it. And it also requires deep focus. I know a lot of times you just want to like jump out of it because it's just burning your quads or some other body part. But the more you focus your mind, the more you're able to get through it until the end. So I know it's easy to want to quit when it gets hard, but poses like this will help you get through that little sticky part of whatever's happening and get to the other side. Now stand in Tadasana. Then inhale and raise your arms over your head, keeping them parallel. Now as you exhale, bend your knees as you sit back into an imaginary chair, bringing your thighs as close to the parallel to the floor as you can. You're going to tuck that tailbone under. All right. Now keep your weight on your heels. You don't want to put a lot of sheer stress on your knees. While you're doing this, bring your shoulders down away from your ears. You also want to keep your head and your neck in line with your spine. Now with your hands extended, you keep them just as they are, or you can bring the palms of the hands together. Also to note, depending on your flexibility of your latissimus dorsi, which is what they call the wings, you may or may not be able to keep your arms overhead while you're squatting down. And that's okay. We are here to practice, explore the poses, see where we can make adjustments, and keep practicing. Keep coming back to the practice, keep stretching out your body, keep making it strong, keep making your mind strong. Now, to get out of this pose, you just take a deep breath in, straighten your knees, exhale to release your arms, Tadasana. Now you do have some options here. If you want to work out your inner thighs a little bit more, you could place a block in between your thighs and try to keep it there. In doing so, it's going to work your adductors. And you can also do the same thing for Tadasana. It'll really strengthen up and help you feel all the engagement going on in the two poses. The next pose that we will be exploring is uttanasana. Can you say that? Uttanasana. So uttanasana is a deep forward fold. So it's just what everyone knows is reaching for your toes. Deep forward fold. So these folds can feel so good, especially when we spend a lot of time sitting. And the society we're in, a lot of us are sitting more than we'd like to. But you got to remember, you cannot force yourself down in uttanasana. It can really cause a lot more harm than good. So don't make it about touching your toes. That cannot be your main focus. There's so many things going on in this pose, and it's more about the journey to your toes as opposed to getting there immediately. There's a lot of exploration that needs to take place. So let's get to it. Let's start in Tadasana. And from here, you're going to inhale, raise your arms overhead. Then you're going to exhale as you hinge at your hips and drape your body over your legs. You're going to pull your kneecaps up. And as you do so, you are going to be allowing your hamstrings to open up. These are opposing muscles. So as the quadriceps are engaged, the hamstrings let go. That's why you'll always hear that. Pull your kneecaps up, engage your quads. You will be opening up those hamstrings. Now here you're going to just allow the neck to stay long. Grab opposite elbows. That way you allow gravity to do all the work. You're not forcing yourself down. There is no prizes for reaching your toes. Just hang out here for a moment. And notice how the weight is distributing across your feet. Is it even? Notice whatever sensations are happening. Do you feel stretching across your back, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes? Just hang out here for a moment and breathe. Now, if you do want to be touching the floor, but you're not there yet, you can use blocks in order to help keep your chest open and core engaged. You put your hands on the blocks, and by keeping a straight back, you can intensify the stretch a bit more. Now, if you can touch the floor, start bringing your hands behind your feet for a deeper stretch. And just explore it for a little bit. See where you're at. Now to come back up out of this pose, you're going to take a deep breath in, root your feet to the mat, swoop your hands overhead, and come back to Tadasana. Feel free to pause the video at any time to continue working on a pose. Our next pose is vrksasana. And say it with me. Vrksasana. Vrksasana, also known as tree pose. This one is probably one of the first balances many people encounter in yoga. I find myself doing it quite often in the kitchen, and I've caught my kids doing it all the time too. It's super easy to do, and there's a lot of ways that you can support yourself in doing this. There's also many variations, so let's just get to it. So starting in Tadasana, bend the right leg at the knee. Bring your right foot to your left foot. And that right there is one variation. Now, if your body allows it, bring that right foot up to rest onto your left calf. Now this is another variation. And if your body and your balance allows, draw that right foot up to your left thigh. Do not rest it on the knee. Please save your knees. Rest it on the thigh. And drawing it up, it should be drawn up. You're supposed to be able to bring your foot up to the thigh without any help from your hands. Now, if you feel wobbly here, use a chair or a wall for support. Make sure you're not throwing all your weight onto that left hip. Bring that left hip back in. Bring that kneecap up, that left kneecap. It'll help you balance. Engage your core. You go look at a single point on a wall, somewhere in the distance, in order to help you with your balance. See how that feels? And if you want to challenge yourself, you could always close your eyes But right now, this is probably, it can be pretty challenging for some people. Make sure you stay safe. Don't start doing all kinds of different things without safety measures first. With your hands, here you can raise them overhead. Just make sure you pay attention to what your shoulders are doing. You want to bring the shoulder blades down your back. Some people love to do eagle arms, Garuda. It's really up to you. Now let's repeat this on the other side. Can't forget the other side. We're starting in Tadasana. Then bend the left leg at the knee. Bring your left foot to your right foot. That's your basic variation. And then if your body allows it, bring that left foot up to rest on your right calf. And if you like to go a little further, draw that left foot up to your right thigh. Like I said before, try to do this without the use of your hands and just let it rest on your thigh and not your knee. And if you're feeling wobbly here, make sure to use a chair or wall for support. But make sure you're not throwing all the weight onto that right hip. You want to tuck it back in. Bring that kneecap up from that right leg. Engage your core. Keep focal point somewhere in the distance to maintain your balance. To get out of this pose, slowly release your leg to the floor. Bring your arms down, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Our next pose is nataranjasana. Nataranjasana, also known as dancer pose. So this pose is very popular online. You'll see it all over Instagram, and for good reason. It's just beautiful. It's a standing pose, it's a balance pose, it's a back bend, it's stretching so many parts of the body at the same time. It's doing everything. But not everyone will be able to do the full expression of this pose today. But there are some props available that can help us towards this goal. A yoga strap does come in handy for this, and you can use something sturdy like a wall or a chair. There's also a lot of other yoga poses that are involved in helping someone develop the capacity to be able to do a pose such as this one. So working on your tree pose for balance and working on heart openers, back bends, opening up the hamstrings, opening up the quads, opening up the core. All of those things will contribute to be able to do this pose. Now, to do this pose, let's start in Tadasana. And then you're going to reach forward with your left arm. Now, if you need help with balance, use this left arm to press into the wall or to hold on to the chair. You're going to bend the right knee and lift the right foot. And you're going to hold the right big toe between the thumb and the index and middle fingers of the right hand. Now, if you have a strap, you'll have the strap around your ankle, and then you'll grab the strap instead. So you're going to bend the lifted right knee and draw up that right leg up and back. Now, while holding that big toe, you're going to rotate that right elbow and shoulder and stretch that right arm up behind your head without letting go of the toe. Pull your left kneecap up to engage that leg and keep your balance. And you want to focus on something in the distance. You just keep your gaze on something that's going to help you with your balance. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So keep practicing. Sometimes you won't get it right away, but you'll notice all the things that we've worked on, even Tadasana, finding that even distribution in the foot will help you get into this pose. Everything's necessary. Everything builds upon each other. When you have a steady mind, it will help you with your balance. So quieting the mind, focusing, that will help you get into some of the more complex balances like this one. Maybe you won't be able to rotate the shoulders. So wherever you're at right now is okay. Just be where you're at, work at that place, and just do you. See where your body's at and do you. Don't see what somebody else is doing and wish that you were there. You'll get there with time, you'll get there with practice if your body allows it. Everyone has different body structures, bone structures, and perhaps certain poses will never come to someone else and it'll never look the same as someone else because we don't have the same body structures. But you can do the best you can and work towards a goal with practice and by honoring where you are right now. Now, if you're ready to get out of this pose, you just let go of the grip slowly and you'll come back to Tadasana. A lot of times people are holding on to that foot so strongly, they just plop out. You just got to be careful and you're in a safe space because you can really hurt yourself when you're doing something like that. Pause here if you want to keep practicing. If not, we'll move on to the next one. So our next pose in the series is Virabhadrasana. And there's actually 3 poses. Virabhadrasana 1, 2, and 3. Virabhadrasana 1. In order to get into this, you'll stand in Tadasana. You're going to step your right foot back a couple feet away from your left. You're going to have that right foot in a 45-degree angle to the side of the mat. Now your left foot is going to be pointed forward. You're going to bend the left knee, have it stacked over your left ankle. You're going to rotate your hips so it's squared to the front of the mat. You're going to tuck your tailbone under. Engage your legs. You're going to pull up those kneecaps. Now you're going to inhale. You're going to have your arms stretch up. Your hands should be shoulder distance apart, palms facing each other. You want your shoulder blades to open and up, away from the spine, toward your outer armpits. All right, now bring your palms together if you can. You can look up at your thumbs. There really is a lot going on in this pose. Just like most yoga poses, everything looks like it's pretty easy, but you have a lot of engagement going on. Engage that core. All right. You can release your hands, bring them to the floor, and step that left foot back to downward dog. And we'll go into the next one for the next side from downward dog. Now from here, you're going to step your right foot in between your hands. Inhale, come up. All right. So find that placement with that left foot. And it's got to be in that 45-degree angle. Bend that right knee. See how that feels. Stack it over that right ankle. Do your hips, do they turn away or turn towards the front of the mat? Try to get that thigh to be parallel to the ground if you can. If you can't, it's okay. Now bring your shoulders away from your ears. Arms up, shoulders down. Can you rotate those biceps back? Firm up those triceps. Now think, you are a fierce warrior. You're a Virabhadra here. You just came out of that dreadlock. You just were summoned. I'm going to have you hold it a little bit longer. Hold it. Feel what is working, what's not working. Is there any discomforts in your body? Where is a discomfort? Perhaps your body won't allow you to square the hips. And that's something you'd have to consider. Maybe you need to rotate a little bit out. This is your time to explore how your body feels in these poses and start working towards fixing your alignment so that when you're flowing through class, you're able to naturally start working into that pose without having to think as much. So you have these workshops and you find the time outside of the class to continuously work on yourself and keep coming back to these poses that are giving you trouble so that you can fix your alignment, fix the different areas, fix, maybe it's a little adjustment here, maybe it's a slight foot positioning, maybe it's the way your arms are, maybe it's just the shoulders, maybe it's just the need to relax and just let go. See what adjustments are needed. Pause here if you'd like to keep practicing or keep going for our next standing pose. Our next pose is Parzvo Tanasana. Parzvo Tanasana, also known as pyramid pose, sometimes known as single leg forward bent. It's a great stretch. You're going to feel it in all through the posterior of the front leg that's being stretched. Super straightforward. So we'll just get right to it. To start in Tadasana. From here, you're going to bring your right foot back. Maybe about a foot and a half. Nothing too major, not quite like doing Warrior One or Virabhadrasana One. Just about a foot and a half back, maybe 2 feet. From here, you're going to keep that right foot at a 45-degree angle. You're going to reach your arms up to the ceiling and start to hinge forward. Try to square your hips. Reach your arms forward. This is one of the variations. We can stop right here. Now, if you still feel like you could do a little bit more, you can use blocks on either side of your front foot and be right here and feel that stretch on that front leg. Now, if you like to go a little further, remove the blocks, place your fingers next to your foot. Remember, square that hip right there. Now, if this is easy for you, then inhale. And as you exhale, drape the front of your body over the front leg. You're going to end up bringing your fingertips behind that front foot a little more, reaching towards the back leg. That'll deepen the stretch a little more. Pull up the kneecaps. Remember, pulling up the kneecaps will loosen up that hamstring. The hamstring will start letting go. And when you're ready to come back up, inhale. Slowly start bringing your body up and then bring your feet together to the front of the mat. Tadasana. Now let's repeat this on the other side. We're gonna, from Tadasana, bring the left foot back about a foot, 2 feet. You're going to have that at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale. Exhale as you start reaching forward. You can stop here, or you can keep going onto blocks. And if this is okay, you want a little more, remove the blocks and place your hands next to your front foot. Square those hips. See how that feels when you square it versus when you don't square it. You want to square it. You'll get the better stretch. You'll get more out of the pose. You'll notice a difference. It does change. It definitely changes the feeling. All right. And if you want to go a little further, that's up to you. But just explore how you feel in this pose. Pull up those kneecaps. You want to loosen up the hamstrings. It's not about dragging yourself down to the ground. It's about meeting yourself where you are. Stop here to explore this pose some more. We're going to keep going to our last pose of the series. Prasarita Paratanasana. Prasarita Paratanasana. And it's a wide leg forward bend. So the Light on Yoga book has 2 variations listed, but the Ashtanga version goes through, the Ashtanga primary series goes through a couple of different ones. I'm only going to go through the 2 that are listed in the Light on Yoga. So lots of stretches. Love these stretches. You're going to start in Sadasana. You're going to step your feet wide apart. I want very wide apart. So if you're facing your mat, like if you're the length of your mat, you're going to take up most of that length, maybe 3-4 feet apart. And if you're on the shorter side, like facing the front of your mat, you're going to be stepping outside of your mat. Anyhow, so you're going to step your feet wide. You're going to point your toes slightly in. You're going to engage your feet by pressing them firmly into the mat. You're going to notice how your weight is distributed between your feet. You're going to want them to be even. And then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale in, lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, hinge forward. You're going to bring your hands to the floor, shoulder width apart, wrist in line with the arches of your feet. Allow your neck to be long. Pull up those kneecaps. Keep pressing into the soles of your feet. And relax those shoulders. And as you exhale, fold a little deeper into the pose. Now, if your head touches the ground, challenge yourself by bringing your feet a little closer together. But if you're having a little more trouble, widen your stance a bit more. It'll put the pressure off the hamstrings. Now, when you're ready to come out of the pose, inhale, come halfway up. Hands on hips. And exhale, come to a stand, feet together. Now, another variation to this pose, that second one that I was talking about, does require a lot of flexibility to the wrists and the shoulders. So instead of placing your hands at the waist, you'd place your hands in prayer behind the back. So your palms of the hands must be touching each other completely when doing this variation. Put a lot of undue strain on your wrist if you don't. So you go through it the same way as you would if you had your hands on your hips. Explore how you feel in this pose. Deepen the pose. See what's coming up. Are you babying one side compared to the other? Try to maintain even weight distribution between the feet. Press through the feet. Pause here to explore a little more, or if you're ready, let's get going. So let's take what we've learned today and flow a little bit so you can get a feel for what it's like to move with your breath through and between the poses. So take note of what you learned today and become more mindful of how your body moves in your practice. Are you ready? Meet me at the top of your mat. And we'll go through Surya Namaskar A. Right. Standing in Tadasana, a strong Tadasana. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Virabhadrasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Now your next exhale, walk your feet to your hands. Halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, plant your feet on the ground. Swoop your hands to the sky. Bring your hands to heart center for Tadasana. Now let's get to Surya Namaskar B. From Tadasana, swoop your hands overhead. Exhale, utkatasana. Sit back in an imaginary chair. Tuck that tailbone under. Inhale, and with your exhale, fold forward, uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands, step back for Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. With your inhale, you're going to step your right foot forward between your hands and rise up like that strong warrior, or Virabhadrasana One. And you exhale, windmill your hands down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you inhale, step your left foot between your hands and rise up, strong Virabhadrasana One. Exhale, down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Take some deep breaths here. On your next exhale, step both feet to the top of the mat. Halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up. Sit back in the imaginary chair for utkatasana. Exhale, Tarasana. From Tadasana, we're going into Prasarita Paratanasana. So widen those legs. Take an inhale in. Put your hands to your hips. Exhale, fold forward. Engage those quads. Lengthen the spine. Inhale, hands on the hips, come up halfway. Exhale, come up the rest of the way. Move your right foot a little bit closer to the left foot. We'll be going into Parzvo Tanasana, pyramid pose. Make a 45-degree angle of the right foot. Square up the hips to the front of the mat. Inhale, and on your exhale, you're going to start folding forward over that left leg. Pull up those quads. Remember to breathe. Exhale. And on your inhale, come up to stand. Bring your feet together. Exhale, utkatasana, fierce pose. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky, hands to heart center, Tarasana. Inhale, I'm going back into Prasarita Paratanasana. Feet wide apart, toes slightly in. Hands to hips or behind your back in prayer pose. Inhale, and on your exhale, fold forward. Remember to keep your toes in. Pull up on those quads. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale to stand. Now turn towards the back of your mat. Bring your left foot a little closer to your right, but to the 45-degree angle. Square up the hips. Inhale. And exhale, start reaching forward, folding over that right leg. Pull up on the quads. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bring your feet together. Sit back in that imaginary chair, utkatasana. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bring them up to heart center, Tadasana. Now in this next little series, we'll be testing our balance. So remember to take it slow, meet your body where you are. Have some stability close by if you need it, such as a wall or a chair. All right, so from Tadasana, I'm going into vrksasana. Plant your left foot firmly grounded. Bring your right foot to wherever your vrksasana is today. Be mindful not to have it on your knee joint. Make sure your hip is not popped out. And then from here, take a few breaths and prepare to get into nataranjasana, dancer pose. Stay grounded in that left foot. Grab onto the right foot. Extend. Find your balance. Find a focal point to keep your balance. If you can, rotate that shoulder and elbow. Square up the hips. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale. Get grounded in that right leg. And vrksasana, tree pose, with your left leg. Inhale, prepare for nataranjasana. You can set your foot to the ground if needed before going into the next pose. Or if you're a little more daring, go right on ahead. Grab onto that left foot with the left arm. Square up the hips. Onto dancer pose, nataranjasana. Find a focal point, help steady you. Drop the thoughts that are causing you to waver. Slowly release, and back to Tadasana. Let's make your way down to the mat with your back against the floor. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring your right knee in towards your chest. Give it a hug. Now extend your arms to either side of you into a T, and slowly lower your bent right knee across your left, going into a juicy twist. Try to keep your shoulders on the ground. Let gravity do its job and allow it to melt you into the earth with every exhale. Now with an inhale, begin to unwind by rolling your hips back onto the floor. And with an exhale, bring your leg back down to the floor. Now take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring your left knee in. Give it a hug. Now extend your arms to either side of you and slowly lower your bent left knee across your right. Try to keep your shoulders on the ground. Allow gravity to do its thing. Just melt here. This is your time to melt. Now with an inhale, begin to unwind. Roll your hips back. And with an exhale, bring your leg back down to the floor and get ready for much deserved Savasana. Close your eyes. Spread your feet as wide as your mat and allow them to completely relax. Relax your arms, palms facing up. Check in with every area of your body, starting from your toes up to your head, and adjust your body so that you're comfortable. Take one deep inhale, and with your exhale, let everything go and sink deep into the mat, knowing that the earth has you completely supported. Relax your breath. Relax your body. Relax your mind. When you're ready, and with your eyes closed, begin to slowly move your toes. Then your feet, your fingers, your arms. Take a deep breath in and reach over your head. Roll onto your right side into a fetal position. And give yourself a moment here before coming up to a seating position with your eyes closed. Take a deep breath in and a deep cleansing breath out. Thank you for joining this workshop today. Leave a comment below if you've learned something new about a pose or about yourself while going through the class, or if there's a pose I left out that you'd like to learn more about. I appreciate you being here. Namaste.